Awesome. Good morning, everybody. We're so glad you could join us for our quarterly benefits briefing. This is just a time where we hope to connect with our church and employer administrators to show some insight and tips and tricks to the Empower Plan Service Center and just some helpful tips for how you're managing employee benefits. So today we're going to be covering just some information on the Plan Service Center and how to manage your employee accounts. And so I'm going to hand it over to Nicole to give us a little housekeeping before we get started, and then I'll share my screen to show the Plan Service Center.
Good morning, everybody. Just a few housekeeping items. If we have you muted, so if you can stay muted during the presentation, we will have a chance for Q&A at the end, about 15 minutes at the end of this, at the end. As you have questions, you can write them down or type them in the chat, and then we will address them again at the end of the presentation. And like Jenny said, we are recording the presentation so we can share it with those that were unable to join with us. But we will turn that recording off before we do any question and answers. And I will hand it back to Jenny.
Thank you so much. And Nicole, if you could just allow me to share, since I handed over host duties to you, I lost that ability. So if you could just give me that ability. If you guys want, as I'm getting ready to share my screen, if you want to go ahead and log in to your Empower Plan Service Center account, and if your monitor's big enough, then you can put kind of our video and your account next to us and follow along to where we are. So now I'm going to go ahead and share here. Excellent. Nicole, can you see my screen?
I can.
Perfect. So this is the Empower Plan Service Center dashboard. You all should be very familiar with this. We're going to start off by going to our participants page. So we'll be searching for our employee. You will only have access to your division. So let's go ahead and pull up your list of employees here. You can categorize or sort this list by active and terminated employees simply by just clicking this employee status header, which is helpful if you have a long list of employees that you've served or are serving and you need to find one quickly. So let's go ahead and go to Chris Bacon's account. He's one of our active pretend employees in our plan that we're going to use for this demonstration. And at first glance, you're going to see Chris's name up at the top, his generic date of birth and social security number. And then we're going to focus on this account detail tab for just a moment. Right now, this is a pretend employee, so there aren't any actual contributions in his account. However, when you look at your employee's account, you're going to see in this section right here of the page, a quick snapshot of what contributions you as the employer have sent to their account. And there's going to be all the money sources listed here. For example, if you as a church do employer basic contributions, you're going to be able to see the year-to-date amount for the calendar year, how much contributions you've put into their account for employer basic. Same goes for if you're only doing employee pre-tax contributions, employer matching contributions, all of those will be separated out here. So you can kind of see the different buckets, if you will, of contributions that have been submitted to that employee's account. Next, I want to quickly just look at this transactions tile here. So this is another way, like if you want to just quickly look and see if a contribution posted for one specific employee, or if you're searching for a contribution for one specific employee, you can go to this transaction detail and it's going to list, you can choose your date range, all of the transactions from that employee's account. And right here, you'll be able to sort for it to show payroll contributions only. So that's just a helpful tool within the employee's account. And then next, I want to show you, this is super important, the beneficiary tile. It is so important that every single one of your employees has a beneficiary listed. So this is a quick way for you to go through and look in your employee's account to make sure that their beneficiary is entered electronically through the Empower portal. This isn't something you can enter as the employer. But you can let them know, hey, Chris, you need to log into your account and add your beneficiary. If they have questions about how to do that or how to log in, you can send them our way. They can call Empower. We'd be happy to help them to make sure they get that done. And just as a side note, we have just started a beneficiary campaign. So we've sent out letters to individuals who may not have that electronic beneficiary on file. So if they come to you and say, hey, I got a letter about a beneficiary that I don't have one on file, what is it talking about? This is what it's talking about. So now you know as the employer. So we're going to go up and switch over to the employee detail tab, and Nicole is going to cover some important things we need to know about this tab.
Yes, thank you, Jenny. So the first thing I want to go over is updating compensation for your employee. And you can find that right underneath your hire date. And if you click on the blue edit button over on the right-hand side, this is where you can enter the new income. And always remember, please use taxable income and housing allowance to get your full annual salary. Your frequency will stay as annual. So that's auto-populated for you. So then you can click and save. And then you will see when you update that, it will have the new compensation amount. The effective date will be the day you went in and did that. And you've updated that. So probably would only need to go in there once a year, maybe a few other times, but it's really important that we keep that updated. And keep in mind, when you change that compensation amount, that doesn't go over to the GPP, the guided payroll process. You will still have to calculate what the new contribution amount is on that new annual salary. The next thing I'd like to go over is down a little ways on the right-hand side is contact information. And you will simply just click edit. And this will allow you to make name changes, address changes, phone number changes, email changes. The only thing you are not able to change personal emails or mobile phone numbers. The participant will need to log into their participant portal in order to make those changes. So once you've made those changes, then you can click on save. And your updates will all be listed there.
Yeah. One note about that, Nicole, if I might jump in. So when you're adding a new employee, that's the first and only time you will have the availability and access to add a personal email and a mobile phone number. So when you're first enrolling a new employee, it's so important to make sure you go ahead and get that information on that participant's portal, because everybody has that. You can easily ask your employee what those two things are to go ahead and get it from the get-go so they don't have any problems logging into their account. So thanks, Nicole.
Yes. Thanks, Jenny. So the last thing that I would like to show you is actually how to add a termination date on an employee's record. So that's going to be in the box with the employment information, and you'll just click the blue edit button. And
good.
It's not showing it. So
let me go back.
Okay, you want to try one more time?
Yeah, we did get notification from Empower yesterday that they were having some issues with the portal. And of course, that's going to happen when we're doing this recording, but that's okay. We'll go with it.
It's going to work this time, Jenny. I know it.
Yep, that's right.
Yay!
There we go. Second time's charm.
So the first thing you're going to do is click the arrow beside the employment period, and you will always click on that is the hire date right there, and then that will auto populate on the next line under the hire date. And then you simply will type in the termination date, last day of employment. And then your term reason could be a number of different things. Normally, you're probably going to use retirement, separation of service, but it could also be disability. So you'll just choose from this drop down on what the term reason is. And then if you scroll all the way down, you can click save. And,
Cancel for this one and not do it. if
and
that's
that
okay.
will update that information. One thing about that, don't enter a termination date until your last retirement contribution has been submitted for the employee. So just make sure that you've submitted everything you need to submit and then go in here and add their termination date.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Awesome. So now we're going to talk through this last tab of statements. If you have an employee come to you that says, hey, I got this letter in the mail from Empower about my retirement account, but maybe they don't have it with them, or you're trying to see what they're seeing, you're able to go into their statement portal and pull up any mail notices that have been sent to them. So this is helpful if you ever needed to look up something that you're trying to assist them with. Ultimately, it's probably best for them to call Empower directly on our customer service line. If they have any specific questions about their statement, Empower will be able to answer those for them. I think that is all we have as far as the participant portal. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, or Nicole, can you stop the recording, and then we can open up for any questions, specific questions from people who are attending.
All right.